of you. Slide. Sam? Thank you. So let's go into this. This is not about me. You're not going to hear my voice all evening. You already heard Ando's all evening, so let's give you a break. So we're going to watch the following clips. I've got a bit of a register here on the side that I can see. I'm going to get a couple of you guys just to have a look at the clips again. And what I'm really looking for, what are the good practices out there? So what would you do differently as a referee, and what suggestions would you afford the referee as well? So you're going to be working with colleagues. You're going to be lying into people where they'll come in at half time and go, oh, would you have done anything different? So let's think about what our feedbacks are. I think, is it Seredic? Have I got that correct? You got your hand up?
Corredic, but yeah, it's a pain in the arse name.
Is that Welsh?
Yeah.
Ah,
from a Scottish dad.
Right, okay. Yes, sir.
He liked vodka. End of story. But yeah, just a quick question on. I mean, I always try to, even if because I know I've rest some teams and I've potentially bumped into them again. You're just like, well, actually that was all right last week, and or 2 weeks ago, and also talking. You see Prem players, oh, so and so has got a bad rep, but how much of that actually is then us already prejudging that player? And as soon as you see a tackle, oh, he's always a dirty player, right? You're straight in the book, when actually it may not be at that level.
Yeah, I think that's a very great question, a really valid point, because we know certain people. And I've gone to games before, and I've been to a game where it got abandoned, and the referee, I can remember, rung me and he said, "Oh, be careful this week. I've been 3 of their players. I abandoned this game, and I came out with a blank crime sheet because my approach worked for them." So there's so many different factors that could influence a player. I was delayed from work today. So if I went into a game, is my mind actually on this? And excuse me. So there's going to be so many different factors. So I think it's useful to do homework, but have that in your back pocket when you need it and judge it by its cover. And I think you can only referee what's in front of you. So if, say, so-and-so number 4, he's a really dirty player, and he comes in with his first tackle, but actually it's only the 3rd tackle of the game and it's the 42nd minute, do you really need that caution? No, you don't. So let's just take it as it comes and just referee what's in front of you. I think Jamie's got a question already.
I just wanted to ask really a supplemental to that, which was more, if you know a player and how they react, and if you know they aren't going to react to being spoken to, what's the point in the stepped approach?
Well, the stepped approach does help because you can actually turn around to a captain and say, look, we know what he's like. If he doesn't respond well with me today, I'm going to have to go the inevitable way. So, Mr. Captain or Miss Captain, work with me today and we'll keep him on the pitch. We'll keep him out the book. So you can actually change your conversation and change your approach, but the stepped approach will still always work. But you don't always have to go straight steaming in for a card. And it might be a conversation. And it depends on your character. I think Sam will back me up on this. If you get to know me and you get to know what I'm like as a referee, if I've sussed out that someone's a bit of a pain, and I know they are, then I might have a cheeky conversation with the captain and go, bloody hell, what's he going to be like today? Is he always like this? And he'll go, oh, you'll get used to it. Well, do us a favour. If you could get hold of him before I do, that'd be awesome. And then we'll just manage it as we go along. So again, let's use information to us very wisely, because again, you can look at a league table and think, right, well, they're top, they're bottom, they've conceded 100 goals, they've scored, they're on a plus of 40. You're not going to go in going, this is going to be an easy game. You'll still approach it as a normal game. And we've got to use that information wisely with players as well. Sarah Dick?
Yeah, just to follow on, and then I'll shut up for a bit. But it's more that I think there's some players, if you know they're not going to respond, it's like, so as a teacher, you know, or an ex-teacher, you know that it's that consistency though. If you talk to one player, but then you go steaming in on somebody you know is just a grumpy bugger who ain't going to listen to you, then actually they're going to have more of an axe to grind because you're not giving them that opportunity. So, right. Yeah, it's a challenge, but yeah,
and it's a challenge. It's a challenge we need to take, and it's a challenge that we need to ensure that we're dealing with. And you know, there's that player that will test you, and you'll go, do you know what? I'm not in the mood for you today. Here's your yellow. And he's gone, well, okay, I've tested him. I've got half an hour out of him today, or I've got an hour out of him last time. So, yeah, I think, again, use it wisely, but referee what's in front of you. And if it's going to – you've got to remember, a caution and a send-off is there for not only for misconduct, but it's there for – is everyone in the game expecting that to be a caution or a send-off? Don't go looking for it. Is it expected what they've done? More importantly, does it add value to your game? Does it aid your match control by having that card at that time? So if you go, do you know what? I know you're a pain in the ass. The minute you open your mouth and you're 40 yards from me screaming, go and sit down for 10 minutes and you've had your chop. But again, let's ensure that we do things that aid our match control. Go for the simple option, guys. Don't go in looking for problems. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is let's go into the clips. We've got the clips sent out to you guys, so let's try and play them through this. When we did this on FA Core, it didn't work particularly well. But what I would really like to do is I'm going to pick two people. So if I can ask Max and Dave Collier to get their feedback ready for this video, and let's see what you guys are thinking.
So for this first one, James.
Thank you, Sam.
How clear is that?
It's not on mine.
Pretty horrific.
Not clear at all.
Good.
It's just one big white screen.
That would be my terrible.
Okay, that's fine. Well, everyone's got the video, so if everyone can just jump onto them videos for us.
Do you want to try showing from yours, James, as well? See if that improves.
Give me 2 ticks. Oh yeah, actually, I've got them saved onto my computer. Diddly. Oh no, I haven't because I'm on my work computer. 2 secondos. They love preparation and
just giving Dave and Max that extra few minutes to prepare.
yeah. They're sat at the back of the bus doing their homework.
Well, what are we looking for? Should we get Max's opinion first and then recap on the video afterwards? Because hopefully everyone's seen them already.
Yeah, it'd be good to play the video so everyone knows what we're actually talking about. So, okay. Right. Okay, I've just downloaded the onto here.
Sliding defenders, fantastic goal.
Oh. Right. Okay. So, how do I check my screen?
There's a big rectangle with a big arrow in it.
Okay. Cool. So, can everyone see the video up on my screen now?
It's just loading now. Or it was.
Ramona, you've switched your webcam on.
Oh, hang on. No, I haven't pressed. I haven't pressed the second button. Right.
There we go.
Right. So, can you see this now on your screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Fabulous. Right, let's play it then.
Two sliding defenders. Fantastic goal. Sutherland more than really needs something now. Hilton. That's a free kick. Oh, and there's a bit of handbags here after the foul. Hilton needs to be careful because he's been their best player today. He doesn't want to get himself in any unnecessary trouble. And the referee just taking control of the situation here. That's a yellow card for Ayula and probably a yellow card for Hilton as well. Yeah, there we go. Both sides guilty of getting a little bit heated. As you can understand with the competitiveness of this league though. And that is a yellow card.
Right, okay. So some amazing commentary on these clips, by the way, which is great. So it was going to be Max and Dave, wasn't it? So Max, jump in first of all with what you thought was really good in that example.
I think the fact that he managed to, eventually he managed to calm the players down, pull them in, get his portions done and over and done with. But the thing that I thought he could have done with better would be...
That. 1 second, I just want to do the good bits first.
All right.
Okay. We'll come back to the other bits. Dave, do you want to come in with any good observations you made?
Yeah, like what Max says, he came over to him. He got his observations of it. He looked at the player. He got control. He got eye contact, which I think is a very good point. He then called the players over out of the way of all the other players and got them to come over towards him. Although one of them didn't want to initially do that, he kept calling him and get him over. You're away from all the other players. You can do your cautions. You can say what you need to say to the players, and then you can caution them and then send them off. And I thought that was good because he was away from all the. You don't want anyone else in there to put their comment in as you're speaking directly to each of the players.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And just for clarity, when you said you sent them off, you sent them away back into.
Yes. Yeah. Away. You've cautioned them off. If you then head off, continue on with the game, not actually send them off with the card there.
Okay. Alex, I know you got your hand up. I'll come to you in a second. Max, what have you got as feedback?
My feedback would be, the stream wasn't very good for me, but I feel like he could have resolved the situation quicker by using a stronger whistle. So he blew for the foul, and then there was handbags, but I feel like he blew his whistle at the same tone as he did to give the free kick, where I feel like a stronger whistle could have calmed them down, get them close, tell them to go away, and then do what's needed.
Okay, as a counter on that, do you feel that by escalating in the whistle, it may have escalated the situation? Because for those, forgive me, I don't know the big parks of Cambridgeshire, but where you go to games and you're on a pitch next to someone, you can tell when something's kicking off on someone's game or someone's committed a really bad foul because of the whistle. And sometimes by going really hard on the whistle, does that actually attract more awareness to it when actually it never really got into a position that you had problems in the first place? Okay, he enjoyed that so much, I think he's logged off.
You've
Yeah, he has. Well, okay, right. Cheers, Max. He's had his moment. Off we go. Yeah. Dave, anything to add on that?
What he was saying about the whistle, he's blown the whistle. He's blown it once. He has made contact, but the guy wasn't coming over. He could have blown it again and then come over and got the captains involved a little bit. One captain is running towards him, and the guy is coming towards him over now. It was a situation where he got involved with the other player, but he didn't need to, which must have been the captain, where he actually wanted the other one over, didn't he? He's beckoning them over. He is getting the card, and two of them will go over. He did clear them away. And then eventually the clip jumps to he's appeared there, doesn't he? We don't see them between.
Okay, good. Max, I think you rejoined us, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, I've just rejoined. My laptop just died. I'm just put it back in charge. So.
No worries, no worries. Is there anything else to add?
Huh? Say that again.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, not
clear.
no.
Okay, cool.
One thing to perhaps consider is how can we avoid that situation from happening in the first place? What preventative measures could the referee have taken there to avoid that situation from arising? Is there anything the referee could have done slightly earlier? I'm sure, James, you're probably going to touch upon this in a second anyway, so I'll probably jump back in a bit. Yeah, Jack, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, James, sorry, I'll let you carry on without jumping in.
Yeah. I'll come on to that in a second. Alex, you had your hand up a little while ago. You wanted to make a point.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that it's been said that he did well to take the players away from the center, but he did take them in front of the benches. So he might have taken them away from the players from the midfield, but he had both benches behind him, listening and being able to add their comments on why do you book him, why do you send them their regards, you know.
No, very good point. So the fact he's taken him to a safe place in a neutral zone is really good. So, Robert, you got a point?
Yeah, there was what I was going to add. Plus the thing that he let them have their words between them. He didn't call them straight towards him.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost a bit of control and authority there by letting them carry on what they were talking about, you know, each other.
Yeah. Okay, Rob?
Yeah, I thought he could have probably he dealt with the situation well in the end. Probably the Sophomore number 7's slightly dangerous play with his studs up. If he blows for a foul for that and actually gives a blue free kick, that probably alleviates a lot of the problems which then come after that.
Okay. What's really interesting is what our take on it is, and I do agree with it, is actually this is really, really good practice. The reason why it's good practice is because the referee was in very good proximity to start off with. He was very well placed. We don't believe it was preventable. There was nothing, there was no triggers until he gave the free kick that told you there was going to be any kind of reaction. It looked quite an innocuous kind of challenge. There was 2 cautions, which were well accepted by looks of it. It was also very sensibly done. So he did the right back, who then left, and then dealt with the 7. It seems like the 7 was a bit more agreed to be getting a yellow card, but the fact he did it separately was really, really good. I quite like the fact that the captain, my perception is the captain who came in initially probably just went, what are you doing, ref? And he's gone, look, it's going to be a pair of yellows. And again, the referee's probably accepted it, gone away. As always with these clips, we don't know what's happening leading up to it. We don't know what else is happening in that game. We might have already spoken to them, but take it away separately. I think we're being a little bit too critical of this referee. I think the fact that he was quite calm and collective, I think he was always in control. I thought he did get him over. Yes, it took a bit of a time, but this is Supply League football. They do that. They take the mickey. They try and go into position. They'll go, oh, did you want me? Yes, we do. Come here. Come into the office. Take a seat. Shut the door. So there are times where maybe a stronger whistle might have helped. But overall, this was really, really good practice, and certainly in comparison to the other videos. So We're pleased with the approach the referee took. We think he was fully in control and the right outcome was achieved. But I do take on board some of the comments people said, and I do agree on hindsight the whistle could have been a little bit stronger. So good points there raised by everyone. Okay, so let's go into clip number 2. If I can just get into... And for if we can... Oh, sorry, let me tee up who I'm going to have. If we can have Ollie and Ramona.
Yeah, a little bit messy. There was a few challenges going in, but none of them were particularly vindictive. This one, for example, he just gets his foot caught in between number 8's legs. You know, I'm not saying the guy's not injured, but did it require a yellow card for Ben Satterley? I don't think so. We then move on to a really bizarre turn of events. With the ball going out of play, there's then a bit of shenanigans on the line, stopping Ron from taking the throw. He has a little complaint, and then gets in a row, and then this happens. I don't care who you are, you don't go shoving people in the chest. Bang out of order. Incredibly, Frost gets a yellow for trying to take the throw in. Then this guy gets a yellow for tackling Frost for trying to take a throw in. And then the only guy who's actually done something wrong also gets a yellow. So, I don't know. Explain that.
Okay, so the commentators asked if we can explain it. Let's give it a go. By the way, your mates Andy Townsend sound absolutely awesome as a commentator. Okay, so Ollie and Ramona. Ollie, if we could start with you, if you want to give us the good during that clip.
Good things for me is the. I'm watching the video myself again, so.
Okay, we'll come back in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, Ramona.
Good evening.
Hello, you all right?
Should I say good or bad? Sorry, I don't know if.
So yeah, do you want to tell us what the good parts of that video clip you thought the referee did well?
Yeah. The fact that he went there to stop them arguing. Yeah, he was close to the ball, close to the where the thing happened. He went to the coach who started the push. In my opinion, he was under control. He showed quiet, quick the yellows, which it was good. Right? He took the quick decisions, didn't leave people to wonder what's going on.
Okay, good. Ollie?
So as I think good things is as the ball's kind of gone out of play, he's constantly looking at the situation. So he's you can always see that he's kind of got his eye on everything that's happening. So he is getting a full picture of what has actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then because it kind of helps with his position really because of where he is, and luckily he's got no players in front of him, so he's actually able to pick up quite a decent position to kind of deal with the situation. Okay,
good. Do you want to move Ollie straight on to what the referee perhaps didn't do so well?
So following that, kind of with there's the altercation between the blue player and the managers, and kind of as it's happening, he's kind of just trundling over there really, and kind of not really looking like he's going to actually go and solve a situation. And then once he kind of gets in there, it doesn't seem like he really does much. So he's kind of just in the middle of everyone arguing, but not kind of being assertive enough to have a role in actually stopping the situation.
Yeah. Okay, good. Ramona, anything to add on there that you believe the referee could do better?
I agree with Oli. I agree. When he went there, he didn't do much, actually. He was just standing there waiting for them to stop, and then he took the action like he didn't stop anything.
Yeah.
I agree with Oli.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you guys feel that it was preventable?
I think the situation
no.
itself, no, but the kind of the afterwards bit, kind of yes, just by if he's actually able to be a bit more assertive, if people know that he's there to sort the situation out, then hopefully it means that the players know that the situation's kind of under control. Because otherwise it's kind of just free will and anyone's kind of just doing anything at that point.
Yeah, sure. I've got a couple of people's hands up, so we'll go Jamie first. Feel like I'm doing a radio dial-in here.
Thanks, James O'Brien.
Yeah.
No, for me, I felt like there was an opportunity where there was just a moment where you could see something was about to happen, and an early intervention could have prevented 3 yellow cards. As it stood, all 3 yellow cards were probably correct, but I think an early intervention could have potentially mitigated all 3.
Okay, that's good. I might come back to you in a second. Is it Vitali?
Yes. Yeah, James, this is
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I just wanted to focus on the first episode. I think you're talking about the second episode, but yeah, I have a comment about the first episode when there was a challenge on the red player passing in the box I think the referee position wasn't great in general. There was a player number 4 Reds closing his view, and that probably, and the referee was like more focusing on the ball delivery in the box rather than that challenge. And I think the position would be better if we could.
Sorry, just to cut in, we're focusing more around what happened at the dugouts.
Okay, yep. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, Kerrick? Go on, Vitali.
Yeah, for that episode, I would say a stronger whistle, and referee should be more reactive, and like do a quick run to the place where all this was happening.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a good point. Kerry did have his hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I put it down in anticipation. I think like second 23, 24, you can see that there's stuff going on like 20 from about maybe 20 seconds onwards, and he's just walking and looking at it. And at that point, 23, 24, 25 seconds, if he's blown his whistle, he's going to get people's attention. And as somebody else has mentioned, he could actually start moving forwards at that point. And he starts walking, but he doesn't actually use any whistle control until, I don't know, about 30 seconds. So there's like 7 or 8 seconds there. He could have interjected, whistled, shouted, got the attention of both players, or at least the assistant coach, whatever, and the player. And actually that might have prevented it at that time. And also, I guess, is that violent contact, walking in a 2-handed shove into somebody's chest? And then I think personally, I probably wouldn't get that close in. He sees a shove, and at that point, you're anticipating that there's probably going to be other people trying to get involved if you see a shove. Yeah. And then he's actually missed, potentially, although he's almost looking at it at around second 37, 38. But the red number 9 just comes in and just hauls number 4, who's actually the aggrieved party, out of the way, almost unnecessarily. And by being that close in, how much control do you lose? How much do you miss in your peripheral vision or that you can't see? And although nothing has happened, you're putting yourself at risk that something can happen out of your line of sight, and therefore...
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, so I at that point, if I think it's going to get like that, I would immediately start backing away, just in case there's a potential for a mass confrontation at that point, and keep observation.
That's a very good point, and actually, that's going to be a valuable point a bit later on in another clip. I'm going to take one last thing from Rob, and then we'll wrap this one video up.
I was going to say with the assistant coach, if he goes over there to start with and just ask him to sit down straight away rather than getting involved in that, and then get the blue thrower just to move 3 or 4 yards back to take the throw, then that kind of kills the situation before it's sorted. Just go over there fairly promptly, ask the assistant coach to sit down before there's any kind of fracas. Just get the blue defender to move back 3 or 4 yards, because he's going to nick 3 or 4 yards when he throws in anyway, and he just kills it before it's sorted out.
Yeah, I think what antagonised this was the manager held on to the ball. I think that was the main antagoniser. I think what we're looking for here is the very first thing is, where is this happening? It is happening right next to the benches. So I've heard people talk before about having 3 penalty areas on the field of play. So you've got your 2 penalty areas that are obviously lined out, and then you've got another one in front of your benches. They are the times that you, or the areas that you really need to ensure that you get everything right. And they are very, very dangerous areas. So the fact someone's saying, hold on to the ball, and there's dialogue, we want our referees, I want you, if you have this situation, and I know Sam's ticking off a bit of a bingo card of all the safety you may have. But one thing I talk about a lot is about coming alive as a referee. So whereas the first clip, I was actually commending the referee to be quite calm and collective, that worked really well for him. Here, I was so calm and collective, it came across that he was laid back and potentially lazy, and wasn't proactive enough. So really, as soon as someone's got the ball in his hands, that's worth a shout of, let it go, give him the ball, no nonsense, let him take the throw in. And you just need to come alive, whether it's a whistle, whether it's your voice, whether it's stop there and have a word with that man. Look, come on, I don't want anything stupid today. Just give him the ball, don't interfere with it. Now we take the throw in. But you still killed it, still being proactive and gone in there and killed it. Today, it was preventable, massively preventable. And really, 3 cautions. We don't want to go out being officious. We don't go around having 3 cautions. And all my referees that I coach from level 4 downwards, if they come to me, and I had 2 referees this weekend, one had 7 in the book, 1 red, and one had 8 in the book. And both of them had the same question, which was, could you have prevented any of them cards? Because when you go to your clubs, you know, what kind of club marks are you going to get if you're giving out 3 cautions like that? What if it was his second yellow? We need to be thinking here and going, right, a moment, I'm going to come out the curtains onto the stage. I'm going to be a referee. Bang, bang, bang. Everyone's excellent. Let's take the throw in. Everyone's in a good place. They're very cheap cautions. And if I was a club, I'll be very disappointed with that. Jamie, you got your hand up. Take one last point, and then we'll move on to the next video.
It was more the fact that you said you were going to come back to me.
Oh, goodness. This is why I have a PA where I work. Why was I coming back to you?
Well, I was the one that originally said that I thought it was preventable.
Yes, so what I was going to come to you with, and I'm kind of sorry, I've ignored you a little bit. I was going to say, how, as a referee, would you prevent it? But I've kind of, in my monologue, just gone through with that. But is there any other things you would give as good practice to prevent?
Well, as I think you kind of touched on most of it. I think for me, I think around kind of second 24 of the video, that's when you can see that something is developing, and it doesn't look like it's going to go away. And I think at that moment in time, there's an opportunity there for a strong whistle and a burst of speed forward to just quell it. And then I think for me, the point of no return comes when the blue, having retrieved the ball, then kind of adopts the aggressive attitude with the assistant manager or whoever it is, and then obviously you get the push. And I think at that point in time, all 3 cautions become necessary. but I think up to the point where the blue adopts the aggressive attitude, you've got nothing there.
Yeah.
And I think you've got the option before that blue adopts an aggressive attitude to quell all 3 cautions at the root.
Massively.
But obviously you can't let the assistant manager get away with it because he's caused the aggressive attitude. So
very true, but obviously the point here is, he could have done something that would have stopped him doing that in the first place.
And I agree, and that's almost what I'm saying is that once the aggressive attitude has happened, you know, the original instigator has also got to be liable, as well as the manager who does the push to the chest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you've got that opportunity at like the 24th second where you can see something is going to probably happen to just quell it.
Absolutely. Okay, good stuff. Gary, I know you got your hand up, buddy, but I'm just conscious of our times together as well. But I'll thank you for your input on that one. Let's go on to the next one. So if Lewis and Dominic can have a little look at this one for me. Where are we? Oh, that's a nice one. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Okay, so just to clarify, I'm interested in from when the ball was knocked over onto the left wing and then what happened after that. So Dominic and Lewis.
Dominic hasn't got a microphone.
Ah, okay. That'll be hard. Put it on a post-it note. Okay, Lewis, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, mate.
I think potentially there could have been a free kick. I think the blue, there's a slight push before that, the melee, and then it all sort of hell breaks loose, isn't it, really? But the referee, I think, he gets straight in there. And for me, I think if he hadn't have done, it could have been a lot worse. But the foul's sort of right at the bench. I think you're always going to get that reaction. I don't think there's a lot you can actually do to stop that. But yeah, he's straight in, I think, other than the...
Okay. Is there any danger of him going straight in like that?
Potentially for him, yeah. He could get caught up in it. It's I don't know. Looking at that, if you keep back and you watch it unfold, then you could be dishing out a couple of yellows, a couple of reds maybe. But I don't know. It all depends on sort of the game, what's happened before, what's leading up to it. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm pulling out there is one, looking at how he's gone into the scenario, and also you said about there was free kicks beforehand. Jack, you got a point.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Cool. Yeah, just touching on what Lewis said, I feel the same. I think there could have been a free kick slightly earlier on, but then also when the main incident happened by the dugout, I felt that the referee put himself in a bit of a sticky situation by throwing himself in, because a little bit like the clip before, once he's then in, he restricts his surroundings. So if anything else happens, he's unlikely to pick up anything else.
Yeah, and okay, this is a National League game, so he's very blessed to have a fourth official as well as two neutrals. So actually, he's almost wiped out the involvement of the fourth official by being next to them. And this was a point, I know Kerrigan, you got your hand up, but Kerrigan in the last video made a really good point about being too close to it and then letting everyone kind of position themselves around the referee. And it's really, really difficult to go in, and he wasn't the tallest of referees either. I think it's fair to say. So as soon as he got engulfed, he lost sight of a lot of stuff. Again, really dangerous area. So the things I've written down here is, can he see everything? Right next to the benches, which is dangerous anyway. And he's seen a little fire, and he's come along with a gallon of petrol and gone, right, I'm going to pour this on top. And it's just gone poof. So on that, I'm going to take a couple of points, and then I want to home in on one key piece of learning here. So, Kerrigan.
Cool, cheers. I know you skipped past that earlier challenge. I think somebody else has mentioned it sort of in passing, but he's kind of set the scene, like, 15 seconds in, where it looks a bit of an accidental collision, a bit of a carelessness. I'm not sure it's necessarily reckless or potentially stopping promising attack or whatever, and he's just issued a yellow card for that. And then you skip through to, again, there's a push that actually almost looks about the same as he just issued a yellow, doesn't do anything. Misses then what could be viewed as dangerous play, could have blown for that one as the blue player comes diving in, and you can just feel that the stuff building here. So I think actually he's set the bar really high and then been inconsistent in how he's then dealt with it, which is leading to the white player's frustrations of, hang on a minute, you've just booked our player for pushing somebody over by a bit of a careless challenge, and now a blue player's come flying in with studs up. You've done nothing about that. But I think my final sort of why didn't you is, after all of this, how much contact has he had with his linesman who is closer to that challenge? Because when you look at the slow-mo replay, that guy has come in off the floor, studs showing, flying in, caught his foot, and he hasn't, from what we can see from the video, taken a chance just to take a step back and just go to the linesman and just double check what he's seeing, because he's clearly flagged for it, and just taken that opportunity to then, debate whether it is a red or a yellow, and maybe actually have probably, if that in that situation, I think that's probably a red card offence. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's focus more on the match control, because we could have a whole day on recognising challenges. By the way, yes, it was a red card. Final point from Jamie, and then I want to move into the biggest point of this one.
I just want to be really quick, and obviously match. Your visuals aside, if you run into a situation like that and you get yourself clobbered, what's that going to do for your match control if you're Sparko?
Yeah.
There's a personal safety element to this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a very, very good point. And that's the point where, when you get too close, you've got to stand back. You've got to come away from it. And I think that's a really good point, because the more people get involved, you could get clumped. So not only from a safety point of view, but also from a misconduct point of view, you would not know where that came from. But I think the biggest learning here for everybody, and I'm really pleased, Lewis, that you picked this up right at the beginning of the dialogue, is quite simply, there were, Sam, did you count how many opportunities there were to give a free kick?
I'm not going to lie, I've been sending emails.
Okay. But I wrote down 4 opportunities before that challenge even came in. There was 4 free kicks that you could have easily have sold. And my question to you, and again, Sam, you're going to tick this one off on the Slim Bingo card, but was there an opportunity to give a really crap free kick? Who will remember a rubbish free kick in a fullback position to the defending team versus a mass comp, a red card challenge, an injury to a player for some time? I know what the game would rather have, and that is give a crap free kick and get away with it. And something I said to one of my referees a few weeks ago is kill the game before it kills you. You had the opportunity to take that sting out, just like we saw in the last clip, really early doors. As soon as that first tackle comes in, just give a free kick. Play safe. Why are we making it so hard for ourselves? So, Lewis, some really good feedback there. It is preventable. Like I said, 4 free kicks you could have given there. Just give one, go away, everyone's happy, and we move on. Forgive me for ignoring a couple of hands up at this moment. I just want to move on to match control number 4 because it is 8:05, and I think I'm over my time already. But if I can keep going and get everyone away by 8:30, that would be awesome. Thank you. Right, so let's just have a look at where am I? Match number 4. Before I play this, I need to pick out a couple of people. So if I can have Ollie and Rob to evaluate the next video, please. Right, okay. Ollie.
Yep. So
okay, so tell me some good bits out of that clip.
Okay, so I think initially good. He's kept up with it. I know he's given out, or he's made the clear decision first of all, no penalty, and then he's sort of played that advantage and kept up with play that pretty well there. So he's got a good view. He knows exactly what's sort of going on. He's blown up pretty swiftly, and then first of all, it looks like he gets sort of closer to the halfway line in amongst it, but then takes a step back, takes a couple of steps back, blows the whistle a few more times, and just gets a good view of exactly what's going on, rather than sort of getting in amongst it and trying to stop everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think mostly with the whistle as well, he seems to just sort of keep blowing it, rather than sort of, just blowing it once and just leaving it be. Just keeps making sure that everyone knows he's still there.
Okay. Rob, do you want to come in with the bits that the referee did do so well?
Yeah, I mean, I'd slightly go against that because I've had a sort of similar situation when I'm refereeing myself. The fact is, yes, he's played the advantage from the initial foul, but the fact is then still probably 90 metres away from goal. I'd deal with that first situation to avoid the stuff which happens later on. The fact that he is 90 metres from goal, yes, he's coming through, but as you look at the sort of the picture, there's a back 4 in place, and it's probably a 2 breakaway against 4 or 5 blue defenders. So I'm not sure it's that massive an advantage where you can't deal with the first tackle on the edge of the area, book that, and then it or caution that, and then you've quelled the rest of the stuff which goes on later on.
Yeah, and actually, I'm really, really grateful you nailed that in your feedback, because let's just rewind slightly before the advantage. What actually happened just before the advantage?
Handball or potential handball.
There was a penalty shout.
Yeah.
So there's a penalty shout. next phase of play, a tackle has come in. He's then banged out an advantage, which we'll come back to in a second. It's got a counter attack with danger, danger, danger written all over it at the halfway line. And then the inevitable, I'm going to take a 12 quid invoice on behalf of my team, and you're not going past me. So, to me, does anyone remember what the score was? Sam, what was
0-0?
Yeah, it was 0-0. So it's 0-0. I would say it's quite late in the game, given the tempo and the velocity. It's 0-0. You've just had a penalty shout, and then you've had a strong challenge. Why are we not giving a defensive free kick and giving us time to reset the game? The other question is it really an advantage? Where is that guy going? Is it really an advantage when you're still at 85 yards away from goal? That to me was a possessional advantage. It's not an advantage that's adding value to the game. It's in the defensive third. And Ollie made reference to the whistle kept going. I do challenge that slightly. With the whistle, is it actually being effective? Is he actually managing it? It seems a bit apologetic, and there's a lot. I don't think the players are actually reacting to his whistle. So I want to see the referee involved a little bit more there. He hardly got into the camera angle because it looked like he was dealing with the caution, and there was still a lot of other people getting involved. Now, as a bit of a counter argument on what I've just said, this is a National League game. So you're going to have a fourth official. You're going to have two neutral assistants, and you're all wired up in communications. So it might be, well, it's okay because everyone else is watching. But my feedback to you guys, while you're still operating on your own, don't start a cautioning procedure or a public review or any kind of dialogue with players until it's safe to do so. Get it back under control and then administer what you need to. Cody?
Yeah, I think just to add weight to stopping it after that challenge, when you look back at the challenge and the style of challenge it was as well, yeah, he's kind of come off the floor. It's not quite scissory, but you know, it's like a swing through as well with studs up. At that point, I mean, if you're looking at off the floor and 2-footed, would you really want to play advantage at that point? Yeah, if it was only a yellow card or a trip or something, it's probably the I guess the anger, the kind of like tempo feeling of the game is probably not going to be quite as strong at that point. But yeah, I think definitely I'd have just stopped at that point and just got a grip of it. Mostly just due to the look of the challenge as well, and just saying, right, I haven't given a penalty. That's no need to go and hack somebody down and deal with that there and then.
Yeah, and again, I don't think it was designed. I'm not necessarily even considering whether that was a reckless challenge or what, but it's obviously there was a frantic part of the game. There's been a penalty shout, and again, just to re-emphasise, that was a moment just to go, do you know what? No, I'm taking the ball away from you guys. You're not playing with it until you behave yourselves. And that was a great opportunity to really clamp down. So again, who is going to remember a free kick on the edge of the area versus a poor advantage that then leads to a caution? So again, something for us to consider. Right, okay. Who's not had a go at feedback and would really like to? Vitali, you're on my radar. Okay, good. Vitali and Sam, you can do the last one then.
Me?
Number 5. Right. Okay. So, Vitali, share with me some good things from that parade.
Yeah, I think referee was very proactive and controlled well in the first episode and the second as well. He ran to the action zone, showed his presence, was a speed run that was good, called plays to neutral position. So he did this job well, I think, in the first, second episode. I can't see any bad decisions, etc. So for me, it was, I think, well. Good reaction, strong whistle, control.
Okay. So there's really two elements to this clip. You've got the first one, which we'll dissect in a second. Then obviously you then got the one preventing the free kick. Sam, as an observer, as a coach and a leader in all things refereeing, what are the things? Let's start with the first scenario. What are the things that you think the referee could do better?
So for me, he's recognised the foul. He's quite some distance away. His reaction straight away to get into that situation isn't the quickest. And I'm looking at that situation now. You've got two players on the floor with two players also battling for the ball quite close, pretty much on top of that situation, with another three players sort of within sort of like a 5 to 10 metre distance. With those two players on the floor and those two players sort of going into the challenge, you should be recognising and identifying there's a risk of escalation there.
So what's the alarm bell for you on this?
Sorry, what would the alarm bell be?
Yeah.
The fact that there is literally two players right on top of that ball with one about to what looks like kick it in the direction of where that lad is on the floor.
Yeah.
So for me, the escalation there is the severity of what might come from that and the escalation of any punishments that we might need to have in place with that as well, and the escalation of players clashing. Once, obviously, he's recognised that that situation is there, he's taken a minute or two to get there in the first place. The shove has then happened, and then he's come into the picture. And then Blue, for some reason, is trying to take a quick free kick with two players sat on the floor in front of the ball. So the next stage there is picking up on the alertness of what's going to happen here, who's he going to kick it to, what's the player that's just been shoved to the floor going to do in retaliation to just being pushed on the floor, and what's the three going to do for being fouled in the first place. So you've got four situations there that should be escalating your alertness and awareness to avoid any further escalation that might be.
Yeah.
In fairness, once he's recognised...
Yeah, I was just going to wrap up that first bit. So I think he dealt with it afterwards quite well, but I think there were opportunities that he should have identified, as you said. And it's high risk. When you've got a concentration of 4 or 5 players like he did there, for me, the first alarm bell was the way the guy got up as well and stood over the player. You know that is someone showing a bit of testosterone and almost like puffing their feathers up. And a bit of machoism, and that to me was the first bit. So some really good stuff there, Sam, in terms of alertness and awareness. And again, can we prevent, but can we take an earlier opportunity to command? I think there was.
Yeah, 100%.
Through the second one with the free kick.
So with the free kick, obviously, as soon as that ball is placed by the goalkeeper, the number, I believe it's number, is it 10? Yeah, number 10. He knows what he's doing. He's standing on that ball and he's not letting that keeper take a quick. There's been 2 occurrences where the keeper's started, maybe 3 or 4 actually instances where the keeper's initiated a run up and had to sort of stop. The referee there's got to be more proactive in telling the 10, get away, or let him kick it. And as such, there, instead, he's allowed that situation to develop into something that it didn't need to be. And he could quite easily have avoided a cheap yellow card there for delaying the restart of play. But instead, he's sort of he's almost set that player up for that yellow card by not being proactive and avoiding that situation. And fortunately, the Blues have taken it fairly well. But even still, he could have been proactive to avoid that yellow card that hopefully he administered, which he.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, I am writing down the following questions. Number one, where are you? I did not see that referee come into shot until he wanted to caution.
No.
So is he aware that we've got a scenario? Is he moving closer to manage it? My second question is, can I hear you? So I'm expecting a vocal command. I'm even expecting a whistle just to go, shh, hold it there. Mate, what are you doing? Back you go, you know where you need to go. There isn't one there. So again, you said the words cheap caution. Really, really pleased with that. My biggest question to the referee would be, would you have managed differently knowing that person was already on a yellow? Would you want that to be your second yellow for a red card? And again, for the guys that are moving up through the ranks the way you are, if you ever have a technical caution, you should always be asking, what did I do to prevent that? And there's going to be times, listen, there's going to be times that players are plonkers and they can be right old wallies and they choose their way they're going to react to something. But on technical caution, whether it's delaying a restart, not respecting the full distance, dissent particularly, some forms of unsporting behaviour, what have you done? And again, for the 25 years of me refereeing, I will come home and go, did I do enough to prevent a technical? Because clubs don't like technicals. They get, especially with the respect campaign, the respect league, etc. They're under a lot more scrutiny now to ensure that cautions really should be for fouls. But one like that, why are we even going for a cheap one? Yes, okay, he's delayed the restart. Yes, okay, he's not respected the full distance. Yes, okay, he's had the free kick booted up the back of his calves. What have we done to ensure that don't happen? Kerridig, you've been very patient, and I'll take your point, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, how much action would you take against a keeper for doing that? Because if you know somebody's blocking the quick restart, you'd be like, ref, I'm trying to take the kick. You know, you assume, and at that point, the referee can go, yeah, look, you're just standing there. That's delaying the restart. But for a keeper who just gets a bit wicked off with him to deliberately run up and a full pelted boot into the arse, is there a potential issue there or a flag that could be classed as violent? You know, kicking the ball point blank range.
Do you know what?
On this one.
That is a really good point. And yes, you're absolutely right. Let's think about how we can stop that happening in the first place. There's going to be, we're seeing it where they literally put it on the ground and they immediately kick it and they go, oh, ref. Hang on, stop. You put that ball down. Wait for me. You make a bit of an effort. Let's get away. Take control. And it's one of those that you've got to go, right, I'm going to roll my sleeves up and I'm going to deal with this. I'm in control. I don't think that goalkeeper had any real option but to try and plant one on him. And that sounds daft, but I think there's a reasonable time lapse between him putting it down. Yes, okay, he could have done the whole, oh, ref, come on, get him out of here. He took the actions into his own hands. But what I would like all 17 of you, 18 because Sam, you need to improve as well, is all 18 of you to go away onto your next games and go, do you remember, I remember a scenario like this. I'm going to boss this. I'm going to make sure that I don't have a cheap caution today. I'm going to make sure that I've managed it. Yeah?
Well, one thing to point on with Kerridig as well, and that question raised is, in terms of expectation and what the club's if you were to caution the goalkeeper then, or even worse, send him off, what kind of message is that going to portray and what kind of backlash are you going to get from that? Is anyone expecting a caution for the goalkeeper in that situation, or is everyone just expecting a caution for the defender blocking play?
Great question.
And I'll leave that on a unanswered answer, and I'll let you think about that in your own time with that. James, I'll let you finish off wrapping up. Can we get the presentation back up?
Yeah. It's an answers on the postcard thing. Sam, if you could do the slide for me, please, buddy.
Yeah. Just getting there now.
I'll stop sharing, haven't I?
No, I'll over.
There you go.
You should be able to see that.
Yeah, it's just come through. Okay, so let's wrap this up. First of all, thank you everybody for your homework and some great points there. Nobody really had the wrong answer. Hopefully you got a couple of things that you might want to just consider slightly differently. But just to leave you on this point is always think safety. Give a safe free kick. So that scenario on the third video where we had 4 opportunities to find a free kick. So think cautious. And also, looking at the advantage one particularly, let's think about risk versus reward. So like I said to you, and for you guys that are going into level 4 next year, I hope, you will notice the observation now is all about what the impact of your actions are on the game. So what is the risk of me giving a poor free kick versus the reward of a mass comp? There isn't one. So we're always risk managing. We're always thinking, if I don't do this, what's my repercussion? And that one we saw where it went over to the left wing where we had the opportunities to give a free kick. All the players probably thought, okay, that's acceptable. Oh, that one's acceptable. Let me try this. And he came in off the ground as we've identified. What is really important is that we don't dilute people's enjoyment from our approach. We're not asking for you to go in and be really officious every time. We're not asking for you to go in and go, do you know what, sod this, I'm in charge today. We're not. What we want you to do is we want you to control the game of football. So it's like walking a dog. For those people that have had puppies, when you first have a puppy, you give it a little bit, and there's times where you have to tighten that rein and just pull it back in and go, no, I'm not having you sniffing in all the bins or running off to try and go up a tree. I need you next to my side now. And match control is exactly the same. If they accept it, you can allow a loose rein. When you need to rein it in, you have to rein it in. Where are we? So, again, first impressions count. When we look at the referee, the second scenario, we all identified that the perception was he was quite lazy, quite laid back, didn't care. Actually, I needed him to, you know what? I'm the referee today, I'm bossing this. So take every opportunity to show everybody that you're in control. Show your observers, show your clubs. At the end of the day, that's where you're going to get respect, by showing that you're in control. So be aware of your triggers. What's actually happening around me? Oh, someone's taken a really heavy touch and they're now challenging for that loose ball. That has got to be your trigger. Oh, I've had a free kick. Someone's standing over someone else. That's your trigger. Somebody's trying to delay the game being restarted. That's your trigger. Communication and management skills are absolutely key. So if you are gobby, like I am, fantastic. That's going to really help you. But if you are quite shy and you don't have a voice and a presence on the field, think about when you can use your whistle. Think about how else you can impose yourself on a situation. Use your players to your advantage. If you've got great captains, they're going to be wonderful for you. But also those that are doing local football, you'll have your experienced players that have been up there, they've done it, and they're just playing with their mates for a giggle. They are really helpful at times. So use them wisely, identify them to your advantage. Don't manage what cannot be managed. So there's going to be times where we just have to be strong, we just have to be focused, and sometimes you've got to be that ruthless person. And there's going to be times where you're going to walk away from a game, you're going to reflect on it when you have your bath or you drive home or you go out for a drink, and you'll think back on it and go, I categorically couldn't have done anything different, but I delivered what everyone expected me to do. sometimes you just got to be that ruthless. And that is what match control is all about. Okay. Any final questions? I'm quite happy. It is 8:29. I said 8:30, so I'm bang on the money. I'm happy to take one or two questions now, and if not, I'll just pass it straight over to Sam. No? Okay. So before I pass over to Sam, I do wish everyone all the luck in the world for this year. I'm sure Sam said it quite a few times in the presentation and through a dialogue with Cambridgeshire FA. We're in very difficult times. We don't know what this season's going to be like. So referee every game like it's going to be your last game of the season. If you've got an observation, go and boss it like it's the most important observation ever, because nobody knows what this world's like right now. Nobody knows the next time we're going to be able to referee. I think we're in for a tough winter, but keep at it, keep believing, keep working hard, keep your training. Sam's got a great team around him in Cambridgeshire and some really good facilities available to you guys to keep that going in these difficult times. And again, thank you, Sam, for your invitation, and I wish everyone all the best for this season.